Hold your breath, okay?
You ever see something so wrong, your brain just refuses to accept it? Like your eyes are screaming, but your mind's too slow to catch up. They said it was a domestic disturbance. But when I walked in, it looked more like someone threw a Halloween party in hell. And the worst part, whoever did it knew I was coming. I've seen my share of bad scenes, gunshots, overdoses, accidents that make you believe in karma. But this one looked like the devil himself got bored and decided to play house. The call came in at 11:47 p.m., Halloween night. When I pulled up to the farmhouse off Route 9, the fog was so thick you could almost pick it up and move it out of the way. The house was dark except for a light coming from somewhere inside. I unsnapped my sidearm. Pumpkins on the porch still flickered, soft rotting, one split open and crawling with flies. The door was half open, creaking in rhythm with the wind. Dispatch said the call that came in reported screaming coming from the house. I was the closest, so I grabbed it. I was already thinking someone had too much to drink and things got out of hand. Then I stepped inside, and in that one singular moment, something broke in my brain. They call it synesthesia, when your senses tangle up. The second my boot crossed that threshold, it was as if sirens blared. Screams were coming from everywhere in the house. My gun was in my hand before I even realized I'd drawn it. And just as suddenly it stopped. Silence. I took a breath and realized there were no sounds. This is when my mind accepted what I was seeing. Blood was everywhere, but not spattered here or there. It was as if someone painted with it. Thin, deliberate strokes, like someone took their time. The entire house was a red hue. There were no words I could make out, but there were random designs scrawled along the walls, as if they ran their fingers through the viscous mess to leave trails through the blood. The smell of copper hit hard, and something else, something like meat left out too long. There were 3 bodies. The man was tied to a chair in the living room, his head gone. Gore from his neck spilt down the dark cape he was wearing. The second man was at the table, a half-eaten piece of cake in front of him. His clown costume would have been funny if his throat weren't slit clean. Blood pooled onto the plate, his cake soaked with it. Then there was the centerpiece. A fallen angel in white lay on top of the table, her arms twisted backward like broken wings. Both eyes were gone. No, not gone. They were sitting on top of a piece of cake in front of her. I radioed it in, my voice shaking just enough to piss me off. Then I saw the camera, placed neatly on the counter. The screen was open, red light still blinking. Someone recorded this? I picked it up and froze. On the screen was a still image, me, standing in that same kitchen, my back to the camera. But that didn't make sense. I hadn't been inside yet. That's when movement caught my eye. I raised my gun, sighted down the barrel, only to find a terrified woman on the floor rocking, whispering to herself, eyes wide with pure terror.
They keep calling me the survivor. Like that's supposed to mean something. Like what's left of me is worth saving. The detective, the one with the tired eyes and the voice that sounds like gravel, keeps asking the same question.
Who did this to you, ma'am?
I tell him I don't know. But that's not true. Not entirely. It started 3 days before Halloween. We were supposed to have a party at the farmhouse. Just close friends. Costumes, cheap booze, maybe a horror movie or two. Instead, someone brought something else. Something that didn't belong. I remember the masks. Everyone was wearing one. Latex, plastic, painted. Faces over faces. But one person wasn't. He said he didn't need a mask. I thought he was joking. That's when he started filming us. No one thought it was weird at first. By the second night, those of us who were still alive could only watch. The guy with the camera just filmed, constantly. even when no one was screaming. He'd hum to himself, a tune that made my stomach twist. On Halloween night, the lights went out. That's the last thing I remember. Then the cops found me, covered in blood that wasn't mine.
I was walking when they found me, mud splattered up to my knees. A cop pulled over, lights flashing behind the fog. He got out with his hand on his gun like I was a rabid dog. He asked what happened out here. What?
You heard me. What are you doing out here?
I had no idea what he was talking about, and assumed he just wanted to know what I was doing walking down the road at night. Good question, come to think of it. I told him the truth, at least the version I could remember. I'm just passing through. He looked at me for a beat, then asked me why my shirt was torn and why there was a camera strap hanging from my wrist. I looked down at it, really seeing it for the first time. The nylon soaked dark. Didn't even notice I was holding a lens cap. That's when he started acting different. Told me to get on my knees, hands behind my head. I asked why. He said,
"Because you're the one who called it in."
I was confused and absolutely sure he had the wrong person, because I never called anyone. I don't even have a phone. I opened my mouth to tell him that, and he yelled to shut up. That's when he shoved me against his car and searched me. He took me to the station and sat me under a flickering light that buzzed like a mosquito trapped inside glass. He just kept watching me, like he recognized me, but couldn't remember from where. After what seemed like forever, he slid a folder across the table. Inside, photos from a horrific crime scene. The first shots had food in them. I didn't understand what I was supposed to be looking at. He set down another one, high definition. A cake. I was about to ask why the hell is he showing me these? And then I knew. The eyes on top, pressed into the black frosting, were not Halloween props. Next came the walls. Brownish red smears covered every last inch of space. Then he showed me the bodies. Some close up, broken bones, sliced skin. Another had a man in a chair sitting in front of a backdrop of his own making. Chunks were everywhere, some stuck to the wall. He said,
"Tell me why you did it."
My mouth dropped open. Are you insane? I didn't do any of this. I told you I was just passing by.
Then tell me why you had this.
He took something out of his pocket then. It was the camera lens. I paused. I had no idea why I was carrying that. Did I find it on the road and just happen to pick it up? I must have. A memory skidded across my brain. I was walking, looking into the frog in front of me when I stopped to look back. In the distance sat a farmhouse. A man was standing in the doorway, and just as suddenly it was gone. I looked him straight in the eye and said, "Did you have a good Halloween night?" He didn't answer, just stared, eye twitching.
I knew I had him, but after talking to the suspect, I also knew he wouldn't give me anything more. Still, he wasn't going anywhere. Not until I got DNA back from that nylon strap. For now, I'd book him, then go back, find more, comb through every inch of that goddamn house. Then I'd make that crazy son of a bitch sweat. I snatched my keys from my desk. I shouldn't have come back. The farmhouse was quiet, uneasy, crawling with that static charged stillness. The generator had burned out, leaving the place lit only by the pulse of red from my cruiser outside. Each strobe revealed a new detail my brain didn't want to process. The blood on the wall, now dry and flaking off. The flies crawling on the uneaten food. What stopped me was the chair. It was toppled over. Crime scene markers riddled around it, almost like confetti. The floor creaked behind me. I spun, but no one was there. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. When I turned back, I spotted the chair, now upright, and on it, a camera. Its small red light blinked steady. Recording. What? How? Ice slid down my spine as my eyes swept the room. No movement, no sound, just that slow, rhythmic flash. I moved closer. It was the same one, the same camera I found when I first came onto the scene. But that wasn't possible. I know because the camera I picked up was never logged into evidence. I'd hidden it in my cruiser. So how the hell was it back here? Whoever's doing this isn't just setting me up. Whatever game this is, it ends tonight. I was going to clear my name, even if it killed me. When I hit playback, bodies flickered to life on the tiny screen, all laughing, then screaming. And this time, I saw myself. Not just my back, not standing here. I was sitting, watching, laughing. I blinked. I hear it. The sound of a camera shutter. A white flash lights up the room. I see the man in the chair begging, "Don't do this, please don't." Boom! I blinked again. Nothing. There was nothing in my hand. I was breathing like I just ran a marathon. Sweat rolled down my temple. I was losing it.
There he goes again. Wound up like a toy car going in circles. He wants to know who did it so badly. Everyone does. They're all searching. No one knows I'm watching. I'm so close, and they're all so oblivious. They want to believe they're searching for a monster. Hell, maybe I'll even look like one. And maybe on the inside we do. Maybe on the inside there's a decaying, writhing darkness, festering just beneath the surface. And sometimes it just needs to spill out. But on the outside, we smile, make coffee, pay bills, and every other mundane thing that would make anyone want to vomit. And sometimes, we tell stories. For instance, Halloween. Oh, how I always loved Halloween, not only for the costumes and candy, because it's the only night people let you wear your real face. The only night no one questions the monster behind your eyes, the weapon in your hand, the blood splatter that shot right up your shirt and into your hair. It's such a jolly time of the year. The night I went to the farmhouse was not my first time there. I didn't sneak in or force myself inside. I walked in, like I'd done 100 times before. My camera already recording, of course. There wasn't an official theme for the party. It was just decided that it would go down on a Saturday, since Halloween was on a Tuesday. Because who the hell would want a party on a Tuesday? The others were there, dancing, drinking, having a great time. Paul, sporting a Dracula cape and some fangs, saw me first. He smiled and nodded my way. The others turned then too. Lydia, cute as a button, was predictably an angel, and Max was some sort of killer clown, which I could appreciate.
What? Ah, man, you were supposed to actually dress up.
Max said, sounding disappointed. I looked down at my jeans and that fake knife in my hand and said, "But I did. I'm a serial killer." They immediately laughed, so I laughed too because it was just so fucking funny. The first scream came from the table. We were all eating, throwing back beer like we had 3 livers and shooting the shit when I excused myself to go to the bathroom. I walked down the hall, but I kept going, past the bathroom and out the back door. Before coming in, I had propped my shotgun up on the side of the house. I see it when I turn the corner. Shotgun in hand, I unsheathed my hunting knife as I walked across the porch and through the front door. It wasn't rage. It wasn't hate. It was a quiet, cathartic thing, like pulling a trigger underwater. Well, for me, not them. I had days with them. Blood sprayed across the walls, the ceiling fan, my reflection in the TV screen. The symphony started then, begging, pleading, and of course the inevitable why questions. After that, it was nothing but the high-pitched sounds of vocal cords shredding. And then, silence. The smell of iron and candy thick enough to taste. Pumpkins on the porch still flickering through the window, their grins matching mine.
I was numb the whole drive back to the station. The holding cell reeked of sweat and sewage. The suspect sat on the cot, shackles off, eyes fixed on me like he knew something I didn't.
I told you, you're the crazy one here. I didn't do anything.
I went at him hard and got nothing for my trouble. The last thing he said to me was,
I hope you remember to keep the camera strapped.
and winked at me. He wouldn't answer any more questions after that. I walked out before I could break his nose. I slammed the report shut so hard my desk shook. Just thinking about this whole thing made my head hurt. I leaned forward, resting my forehead on the back of my hand. The fluorescent light hummed overhead, flickering like a dying heartbeat. My notes were a mess. Blood patterns, timestamps, the impossible camera. None of it lined up. I wasn't even close to ready to think about the weirder shit that's happened. Then I heard the front door creak open. Footsteps. Soft, hesitant. When I looked up, she was standing there. The survivor. Blood was still caked on her. Eyes wide like a deer in headlights. How the fuck did she get here?
Detective.
What are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the hospital.
I checked myself out. I didn't want to be with a bunch of strangers. I didn't feel safe there.
There should have been an officer outside your door. She just shook her head.
I'd like to stay.
She sat in the chair across from my desk before I could get up to take her back. She swallowed hard. I knew she wanted to tell me something, so I let the silence build. Most people don't like silence, and eventually they'll break it.
Did you find them?
Them? Her lip trembled.
The killers.
That word, plural, hit me like a punch to the chest. For a second I didn't move, didn't breathe. Just stared at her and realized she wasn't looking at me. She was looking behind me. I turned.
And just like that, he's looking at his reflection in the window. He doesn't know I'm just on the other side. But he feels it. That sensation that something is so very wrong. When it was over, when I had my fill and my footage, I turned the camera toward myself. I smiled at myself in the tiny screen because I was one good-looking son of a bitch. Despite the streaks of red slashing my face, or maybe because of it. I winked, then I laughed, because I'll never be caught. You see, I've been filming myself, not to confess, but to introduce myself. You wanted to know who the killer is, right? Have you guessed it yet? All right then, I'll tell you. The cop, the survivor, the stranger. It was all of them. TADAH. But here's the trick. They're not people. They're rooms. Inside my head. 4 walls for each face I wear. All versions of the same sickness. All pieces of me trying to remember, trying to put it all together, but not quite getting it right. I never let them meet each other. They stay in their little rooms. But sometimes, they find ways. There's Dan, the cop. The face I built for the masses. The see I'm the good guy version of me. He wears the badge, points at the evidence, writes the reports. He believes in order, in justice, even while standing knee-deep in the chaos I made. Every time I slip out, he's the one who cleans up the mess. He tells them what they need to hear. It was random. The killer escaped. Or my personal favorite. I'll do everything in my power to catch him. And then he strolls into the evidence room, slips a glove on, contaminates a thing or 3, under my guidance, of course. Then I sit back and feed on his righteous anger. Next, we have Cassie, the survivor, the one who screams, cries, prays. Dan calls her the victim. I call her storage. She's where I hide things I have no interest in. Useless things like guilt, empathy, The horror that should stop me but never does. When I wake up covered in blood, she's the one Dan finds shaking in the corner of our collective mind. And I feed on her panic, her revulsion. It's like dessert after the main course. Then there's Lucky, the fixer, the one who gets us out of trouble. Poor bastard's lost in the fog, memory full of holes. But he's a worker horse. He drifts in when the cleanup at the scene begins. He's the one who doesn't remember calling it in, doesn't remember how he got there, doesn't remember what happened, doesn't remember why he needs to get away, just that he needs to. He's my ghost, the one I send out to make things disappear. And last, but certainly not least, there's me, the one who remembers everything, the one who feels alive when everyone else fades. They say killers crave control, and they'd be absolutely right. Because I am in control, always. When I'm done playing, I reach behind those locked doors inside my head and pull someone else out to take the wheel for a while. Keeps things interesting. I live for that single, perfect time of the year when I can be exactly who I am. And when the laughter turns to shock, when the carnage passes and the breath leaves them, that's when the noise in my head finally goes quiet. And every Halloween, I hear them knocking, 3 times. Always 3. Like they're begging to come back into the light. But they should know by now, Halloween is when it's my turn. I live for the intensity of it all. But sometimes, holding back is just as fun as letting go. That's how I test my control. The reason you only see me once during that special time of year. Here's the thing. I truly, utterly believe I'm limitless. And what better way to prove it than by seeing how many souls I can claim at once? I've been doing this a long time. Practice makes progress, after all. I have dreams, goals, like any self-respecting, growth-minded individual. So this year, I built my way up to 3 souls. Who knows? Maybe next year I'll go for 4.
And there you have it. Not every monster waits under your bed. Some live right behind your eyes. This Halloween, I skipped the ghosts and ghouls. Figured split personalities were a better kind of nightmare. So I cracked open a mind instead. Hit subscribe if you want to know which version of me shows up next. Well, until next time.